Welcome back. America is currently losing a modern-day arms race, according to Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon.
He just returned from a trip to Ukraine and got a first-hand look at how the war with Russia is being conducted.
As producer Roger Hamer explains, the battlefield is far different than anything we've seen before.
I've been a big, strong advocate for Ukraine. I believe it's in our national security interest that Ukraine remain independent.
Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon calls his recent trip to the Ukraine as part of a bipartisan congressional coalition of veterans an eye-opener. History shows air power as a deciding factor in warfare during the 20th century, with advances in technology over the battlefield usually deciding the winner. Bacon says airspace above the Ukrainian battlefield is filled with 1,000 drones from both sides.
They have kamikaze drones that are ramming trucks, ramming tanks, ramming a trench if they see troops in them. They have bomber drones that can drop ordnance and then it flies back. They have reconnaissance drones. It is so dangerous now on both sides to bring like food and water to the front. They have now logistics drones that are carrying water and food to troops on the front line so they don't have to go back and forth where they're more vulnerable.
Bacon says this is where the United States is rapidly coming up short.
The technology in the United States on this is significantly behind. Both sides are flying Chinese drones and they're modifying them. And so when I was out in Silicon Valley recently, about 2 weeks ago, they were telling me about this and they were working overtime to try to close that gap.
Bacon says the Chinese cut export of drones to the Ukraine, but the Ukrainians are getting the equipment through other channels. 20th century weapons also proved how attacks above and below the sea could decimate naval surface ships. Bacon says this is how the Ukrainians chased the Russian fleet from the Black Sea, even though they don't have a single warship.
They did it through sea drones. They have sunk 19 Russian ships in the Black Sea using other things, but not ships, mainly sea drones, but also some air-to-surface missiles or surface-to-surface missiles.
While this depiction of 21st century warfare seems like something out of a science fiction movie or a video game, Bacon says America better get in the game before it's too late. On your side, Roger Hamer, WOWT 6 News.
Now, Bacon says Ukrainian President Zelensky plans to meet with President Joe Biden in the coming weeks to present a 10-point plan for victory. That information will also be shared with presidential candidates Donald Trump and Kamala Harris to help ensure a bipartisan approach is achieved.